I thought it was normal. It's like, someone being born with 3 kidneys, let's say. You don't think about it, that is something unusual, right? But as a child, I could see, spirits. I could see, obviously I didn't know they were spirits, but I could see some faces or figures.
So just in your house or
in my house, and I was just wondering what those people are doing here. My parents are not home, or they're in the kitchen, let's say, so I was a little bit scared. But even as a little girl, I made a decision just to ignore it, since I couldn't understand what was going on. Growing up, I was busy, with my education, all of that stuff, but I still could see them.
What happens after we die? Is death the final act, or is there something else? And if the souls of our loved ones do live on, is it actually possible for us to communicate with them? Today I speak with Barbara Rybicka. She's a psychic and medium who's been facilitating conversations between our world and the spirit world for most of her life. We talked about fate, intuition, how being a medium works, and much more. And I even asked her to give us a little prediction for the future. This is my conversation with Barbara Rybicka. So I'm very excited to be here today with psychic, medium. What else would you call yourself? Like a psychic and a medium?
Psychic and medium, because there is a huge difference between, first of all, thank you for having me.
Oh, of course, of course.
And yes, there is a huge difference between psychic and medium.
Okay, and you do both of those.
And I do both.
So we'll get into...
Because if you are a medium, you're also a psychic, not the other way. Psychics are not necessarily mediums.
Okay.
So we are using different vibrations, different energy.
Okay, so we'll get into all the differences of that and how that works. But your name's Barbara Rybicka. Am I saying the last name correctly?
That's right.
And what kind of name is that? Where are you from in the world?
I was born in Poland.
Okay.
And I live here in Canada for 30 years. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know a little bit about your childhood, and specifically when did you realize that you had this special, if you want to call it a gift or an ability? What's your first recollection of that?
Now when I think about myself, how everything started, I think, and I'm sure I was born this way, born medium.
Right.
And if I may quote, one of the best mediums, of the last century, Mr. Gordon Higgins, he said, mediums are born, not made.
Right.
And I strongly believe that,
Okay.
So as a medium, being born this way, obviously it was a long journey before I was aware of that, before I knew myself. I realized that, I'm a medium. I didn't know anything about that, right, at that time.
You think that's just normal when you're a kid?
I thought it was normal. It's like, someone being born with 3 kidneys, let's say. You don't think about it. That is something unusual, right? But as a child, I could see, spirits. I could see, obviously I didn't know they were spirits, but I could see some faces or figures.
So just in your house or
in my house, and I was just wondering what those people are doing here. My parents are not home, or they're in the kitchen, let's say, and so I was a little bit scared. But even as a little girl, I made a decision just to ignore it, since I couldn't understand what was going on.
So you just block it out?
I blocked out. And then, obviously, growing up, I was busy, with my education, all of that stuff, but I still could see them occasionally. So they weren't bombarding me, let's say, but occasionally I could see them. And then again, they came back to me. That was I would say, a big wave, of getting, the information, seeing them, hearing them, those senses,
So how old are you at this point?
At this point, I was in in my 20s. So you're going to laugh at me, but, literally at the beginning, I thought it was some signs of schizophrenia.
Right.
Because why do I see or hear or,
And was it all the time, every day?
Not every minute of my life, but it was
pretty regular.
Yeah.
So bring someone for people who aren't familiar with this and this phenomenon, I guess. Bring us through. So you're a child. What's your first recollection of being able to do this? How old were you when you first became aware?
Like I said, in my 20s, and I was like, and I talked to my friends and I shared my emotions because I was still trying to understand why do I know more, why do I see or hear more or sense more
and they weren't having
about other people. And they actually helped me to, they shared their experience with me when I was much, much younger, when I was talking about seeing people.
Right.
I called them people. Right? Because I didn't know they were spirits.
Right.
And then I was like, so I'm fine. I'm not sick. I'm fine. Yeah. And then I started reading, books, and I was trying to understand myself, to know that beautiful gift, which is mediumship, right? And I started going to see other mediums. Mm-hmm. For example, in Lilydale, in the States, that little cute, fascinating place where mediums live, right? And that's how it started. I started taking workshops,
So you started building it like a muscle or a skill?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. And I'm still working on that. It's never-ending story. I believe it's like, if you want to be a really good doctor, you have to,
keep working on your skills.
Keep working, absolutely, yes.
So you realize that you have this ability. I'd be curious, how would you describe how it felt or how it looked? So you'd be sitting in your house or you'd be out somewhere and you saw, at least you call them these people, but what did they look like? Did they look like kind of ghosts in the movies, or did they look like fully formed people? Like what did you see? What did you hear? Were they trying to talk to you?
That's Hollywood. But, they influence all of my senses, so I can feel them. I can sense their presence, right?
Yeah.
I can see them. But everything happens, I would say through that telepathic way, so they influence me telepathically with their thoughts, with, all of the, the feelings attached to it, right? So, and then I was like, okay, someone is here. So let's talk.
You'd feel it. You'd feel like if they're trying.
Them.
So if they're trying to communicate a statement or a question to you, is it words? Is it like images? Like how do you feel it?
All of those things, images and feelings, and sometimes it's smell. Let's say someone on the other side who is contacting me through me. It used to be a smoker, so I can smell cigarettes. This is what I say, to my clients in my sessions. Always watch my body, because all of a sudden I might show something or do something.
Like a reaction.
The reaction.
Yeah.
That's how it happens, right?
People are very familiar, I would think, with the shows like, the Long Island Medium or James Van Prague or who's the other guy?
John Holland, John Edwards.
John Edwards, yeah.
John Edwards, yeah.
What's your take on those? And I know that they have to kind of package it for TV, but what's your take on those individuals? Do you think that they're kind of like legit? Do you think that it's like the Hollywoodization of it, or what's your feeling on the TV versions of those things?
It's like you said, it's television, right? It's Hollywood, but I never try to judge any other medium, because I strongly believe that everybody is different, very individual. And we should respect that. Okay. Television is television, Hollywood is Hollywood, so it's like, there's like a little bit of more of those colors, to attract the audience, but like John Edwards, I would say, when I look at his work, yes. So there are some very legitimate.
You think he's
mediums.
Legit? Yeah,
that's what I think.
He's taken some knocks in the media now, and I guess that's one of the risks about putting yourself out there, is that you put yourself out there for criticism too, right?
That's true.
Okay.
But
so let's back up a little bit. You were talking about the difference between being a psychic and a medium. They're two different skill sets.
Absolutely.
And that if you are a medium, then by definition you are both. But if you're a psychic, you're not necessarily both.
You're not necessarily.
Pretend you were talking to someone who knows nothing about this.
Absolutely.
How would you describe what each of those pieces is?
Psychics, work with a different energy. When I work as a psychic using those skills, I tap into your energy. I read your aura. So this way, I get the messages from your soul about your past.
How's my aura doing
present.
today?
It's good.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
wonderful.
Oh, nice. You probably tell that to everybody.
True. But anyway, so that's how it works. I work with your energy field.
And what,
Okay.
can you see it, feel it?
I can see the colors, I can feel you, I can sense you.
So
you
what
know,
color is my
and,
energy field right
it's
now?
like I'm blending with your soul.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm getting the information from your
Right.
soul. I guess it's still hard to understand, but this is this is the difference. I'm working with you, with your energy field, with your aura.
Mm-hmm.
When I work as a medium, this is a different story. Here we go higher with the vibrations. I need to go higher in order to meet the spirit world.
And so, just for people who don't know the difference, that is, you're actually communicating with people who
I'm
have passed on.
communicating with the bunch of people.
And
yes,
so that's a
with the
different,
spirits.
that's like a separate skill set.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
And many times I meet people and they don't know the difference. And I think this is very important to know the difference. Because sometimes, people say, oh, I used to go to see a psychic. So I say, but this person wasn't a medium, right?
Right.
What is the difference? So then I obviously...
I'm glad we're nailing this down. We're getting the differences
It's
between
very important.
So is there one that you like more than the other?
Mediumship is something that this is my love.
Yeah.
This is my life.
So
be
tell me
honest.
why.
Why? Because, let's talk, for example, about love in our physical world. The word love, how we love each other. And I see through my experience, through mediumship, I can understand, I can see, what love really means, that pure love, because there's a huge difference. Sometimes I say to my client, I wish you could feel what I can feel. The love from your father, for example, or from your mom. It's like my body is growing.
Yeah. So you can feel
Fantastic. It's fantastic. It's
Right.
amazing. So this is my passion. This is my passion. And besides, you have to understand one thing. What is the purpose of mediumship? It's about healing. Healing us here in the physical world and healing the spirit world as well. Because they need that too.
That was going to be my next question. I thought that over in the spirit world, everybody's all happy. Is that
Not necessarily.
Right.
Because let's say, if you don't mind, I would like to, I would tell you a short story what happened to me from my experience.
Yeah.
A client of mine, she came to see me, and that was for her astrology reading, because I also work as an astrologer.
Right.
And in the middle of the session, when we were talking about her life, her father in spirit came through. And he showed himself in a bar drinking. I knew he was a heavy drinker. He wasn't the greatest father, let's say. So the moment I mentioned his presence, my client, she got furious. She said, literally, tell him to go to hell. I said, he already heard you. And she said, I don't want to talk about him. I don't want to talk to him. I said, there is no pressure from him. I don't feel any pressure from your dad. It's just he's asking you if you can try to work on forgiveness.
Right.
So she left my house. She wasn't a happy camper, I guess. But look how it works. So I would say, the healing, that whole process of healing wasn't done.
For him or
for
her.
him,
Yeah.
for both. 6 months later or so, she came back. I opened the door and she said, tell my father that I forgive him.
Wow.
So it took her a few months, but it was just the beautiful beginning of the healing process for both sides. That's why I think it's so important to remember it is about healing. What about parents who come to see me because they lost their child?
That's got to be
This is the
tough.
most difficult. Those sessions are the most difficult ones. But the moment we start talking, I pass the messages from their child. So, and I see them, the beginning is like, obviously they cry. They are devastated. And then till the moment I see beautiful smiles and faces because of the connection.
Right.
They can feel the presence of the lost child. Isn't that beautiful?
It's great.
It's amazing.
So you became aware of your abilities. You were maybe concerned about maybe it's like some sort of mental illness. You thought, oh, why am I different or whatever? And then you became aware of it and started kind of like embracing it and getting more involved. When did you make yourself available to people in the world? Like, what was that process like?
Because of I would say, my family, great family, very supportive from the beginning. My friends and my acquaintances, they were telling me, why don't you do it as a professional medium?
Right. Did it feel weird?
I was a little bit scared at the beginning.
Did you have another job? Like, were you?
Yes, I was running my own business, something completely different.
What business was it?
And then I was in service, you know.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, let me try as a part-time.
How did you get your first customer or client?
I guess my name was recommended, you know, through someone. I don't remember.
Word of mouth, I guess.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
Right.
So that's how it started. And please remember, I was also at that time I was kind of like I would say simultaneously I started, you know, working, you know, and started, you know, my business as an astrologer. So it was like those two things, you know, they're going, you know, simultaneously.
Right. What are some of the most common questions that you get from people?
What I've noticed, you know, that is actually a very good question. What I've noticed, and that what makes me very, very happy as a medium, that more and more people, they really understand the process of the communication, you know, between us here and the spirit world. They are more and more aware of that. They're not scared of that, or they don't look at that as a taboo because of their, let's say, religious, you know, beliefs, right? Because of their religion. And they want to talk. They want to talk. They want to communicate. And when you see people after their session, you know, with me, and I assume with other mediums, they feel lighter, they feel happy. They see, you know, the sense, you know, of their lives. That it helps them. It helps them tremendously. That's beautiful.
When you have skills or abilities like yours, one of the first questions that people come up with is, why don't they just go and get the lottery numbers, or use it for kind of like personal gain? Or I'm sure people come to you and say, how can I win Lotto Max or whatever?
I heard such a question.
So how do you answer that?
And my answer always is, I would say pretty the same. And it's like, you know, they ask me such a question and I ask them, do you think that you're gonna be a happier person if you win $1 million,
Right.
let's say? Because look around, you know what the statistics say. Not necessarily. Your people are not necessarily happier.
Right.
Quite often, their life is miserable.
Well, you just new problems.
They get new problems. So I say, you know, I'm not gonna use this beautiful energy to ask about, you know, lottery numbers.
Right.
No, it's not about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk to the spirit. Let's talk to your loved ones.
Right.
They have something to say. You see, the point is, you know, and general public, quite often, you know, people don't understand that, you know, when we cross over, we can talk, we can influence, you know, mediums. You know, their senses, how to communicate, because they want to communicate. They want to talk to us.
Right.
It's not just we people living here, we want to talk to them. They want to talk to us.
Right.
So they're also looking for mediums because they want to communicate. They want to know us. I'm fine. I'm out of pain. I'm happy. I'm safe. Obviously, they love to share their stories. Right. They love to share their memories. it's my job to bring the evidence and validation, so my clients, they know, oh yes, this is my mom, because this is exactly the way she was. Because the fact that, that we cross over, it doesn't mean that we become angels. Not at all. Our personality stays the same.
So what do we become?
We are the same. It's just our awareness is bigger. And like the father, the story I told you about, this is like he became aware of what kind of a father he was, right? So that's why, with that, that awareness, he got to the point and asked his daughter, please forgive me.
Right. So one of the things you've talked about before, you said that the concept of time doesn't matter on the other side, or like is that, I forget what the term was, but time as we know it doesn't exist over there. So can you talk a little bit about that?
We are talking about different vibrations, different dimension. That's one thing. We use universal time here. They don't.
Mm-hmm. So can you give me a practical example of that?
Like we have watches. You can look at the clock and it's okay, this is the time. Right? That's how our lives, works here, right? On the other side, there's a different story. I would say, they have their personal time, if I may say that, because even, through my work, sometimes they give me the feeling that they passed away just recently. Let's say like, the feeling is like, oh, I died yesterday, and I feel this, and I say something, does this person pass away, like just recently? Right. They say, no, 2 years ago, right? So you see, there's a very, subjective, I would say, that's how I understand them, their perception on time, and how it works. Yeah. They just say, I passed away just recently. No, he passed or she passed away 2 or 3 or 5 years ago, which in their minds is like, through their perspectives, is just recently.
So is there and you talked about when you pass away, not everybody just turns into angels like, Michael Landon on TV, but is there such a thing as a negative spirit, or what do you call the demons, or just like hauntings, that kind of thing? Is that real?
Absolutely not. And actually that frustrates me,
Why is that?
Because those are, people's beliefs. This is Hollywood again. Mm-hmm. This is what we get. And I've been doing it, for so many years. I've never met a negative spirit.
Really?
Never. They never give me, a hard time. What they give me is love. Lots of love. Never negativities. Right. Never. I've never experienced such a thing. And even though, let's say, someone was a horrible person in the physical world.
Like Charles Manson, let's say.
For example. But it's not like that when they cross over, when we cross over. This is the awareness I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. You become aware.
So it's like you're not restrained by your kind of being a human being. You're kind of like at a different level.
Different level, absolutely. Yeah. Different vibrations.
How long does the spirit stick around? Let's say someone dies today. Mm-hmm. Where do they go? Is it like some giant holding tank? Excuse my terminology too. I'm just kind of making this stuff up. But where do they go, and how long do they stick around?
It depends on you. If you want to stay longer over there on the other side because you have some work to do, to go through your, recent past life, to go through your mistakes, your decisions.
And when you say go through, what does that mean?
It's like watching your own, watching your past life, your recent past life, like watching a movie, and you see yourself, the way who you are, how you acted, and this is what we are talking about, the awareness. Mm. So what is the point of, coming back here right away, life after life, if you haven't changed? You have to understand your mistakes. You have to understand yourself in order to move on, right? So you come back and hopefully, you're going to be a better person, hopefully.
But you start with a clean slate again, though. It's not like you remember everything from the last time. It's just you come as a baby.
But your soul does. Not your memory. There is a huge difference between our brain, our mind, and our soul. That's what I'm talking about. Your soul remembers. Right.
Everything. But you can't really tap into that, or can you?
You can through your work. You can absolutely think about past life. Past life therapies. this is how it works.
But everybody, it seems to me, when you go to get past life therapy, everybody was a king or a prince, or like nobody was like the blacksmith down the road. Everybody was famous.
I can give you, a few examples of my past lives.
Oh, sure, please do.
Like I was one time I was a very, very poor homeless man, short and ugly.
Oh. And whereabouts in the world were you?
But the next time I was a very well-known lawyer in France.
Oh, wow.
Right? So it depends.
You were a lawyer.
I never
Maybe
met
that
myself being a queen or a king.
When you were a lawyer, was that punishment for something, maybe?
No.
I apologize to all the lawyers out
No.
there. So how many, and do spirits kind of stick together as a group or as a family? Do they keep popping up in the same family, or do you go to different places, or how does that?
Mostly the way they show up, they are together. The difference is, what I've noticed, let's say there was a couple, a married couple, and it wasn't the greatest marriage.
I'm familiar with that.
And they both cross over, and let's say you as a son, you come to see me, and your mom is here, your dad is here. They show up because they want to talk to their son, to you. But since they weren't, a good couple, it wasn't a good couple, so they show up together, but they give me the feeling that they are not together.
Right.
They're not together. They're here for this particular moment. They are together, but the feeling is that we are not together because we didn't love each other.
Right.
But most of the times people are together. There are some whole families, visiting us.
So is that when I'm sure a lot of people have this feeling or this experience when you meet somebody. We meet hundreds of people a year, but you meet somebody and you feel like an instant, like this is an old friend, or like this is like just a connection. Is that just kind of randomness, or is maybe did they know each other in the past? Like
that's what I believe. That we met before, and that's why we feel so comfortable together. We feel like it's like I know this energy. Right. I don't remember the face,
right,
but I do definitely feel this energy feels familiar, right? And you like it, each other, instantly.
Which is not the case with most people, but like every now and then, like I can think of maybe 6 people in my life that you met, and immediately you think we're gonna be friends, or this is gonna be a relationship for a long time.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes.
So I was telling you that I just got back from a trip to the UK. For a business trip, and
that was my fault, as far as I understand.
That's right. And so I want to talk a little bit about that process, because you told me that, like I came to you, I don't even know, 4 or 5 years ago. My mom had passed away and had some stuff going on, and I heard about your name from someone and came to see you, and then I came to see you a couple years later and I brought my sister, who was like the big the skeptic who you turned around.
I love skeptics. I do love them.
And then you brought in one of her friends who had been murdered, and you didn't even know she's going to be here, and that I think really blew her away.
Right, but they know spirits. They know who is coming to see me.
You said sometimes like the spirits will show up the day before.
Absolutely. Sometimes they are so impatient, I would say, if I may say that, but that's how it feels. They're with me. Let's say you make an appointment a week, before the your session, your visit here, and their spirits, their loved ones are with me a week before.
Wow.
They're so
they're anxious.
They're very anxious, but it's so beautiful. I don't mind.
Yeah,
I don't mind.
Your visitors. So I end up going to England to do some work, and so 2.5 years ago, I think it was about 2.5 years ago, you told me that, and so just my job is I'm a media trainer and a writer and that kind of thing. And I do my work mostly in within 20 miles of kind of where we're sitting. And, occasionally fly across the country for different things. But not in my wildest dreams did I think that anybody would have me go to another continent to do this. And so when you said, your business is going to be going global at some point, it sounded great. But I thought I couldn't see the linkage. There's no possible
couldn't
way.
See yourself, yeah.
Well, there's no way. And also, there's more media trainers in England than anywhere else in the world. Like, they have more than you could shake a stick at. So. But lo and behold, and that was always kind of in the back of my mind. And then all of a sudden, I had one client and I had a session. Then I met these other folks and their companies from the UK. And then about 8 or 9 months ago, they called me up and said, do you want to come and do the session? And it just happened a couple of weeks ago. And
wonderful. Congratulations.
Thanks very much. But so I guess the question is, has everything already happened? And we're just kind of, is it like a videotape that is just like fate, it's happened, that's it? Or are these kind of like things that could happen? I think that's a question I'd really like to know the answer to.
I think it's fate, when before Mr. Donald Trump became a president of the United States, obviously, I got a lot of people ask me the question, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? It was just the beginning of the whole thing, right? The whole process. And I said, Donald Trump. I was so like, why are you asking me such a question? It's obvious, isn't it? And then, you see him winning the election, becoming a president, right? So this is my goodness, a few days ago, as you know, we have this soccer mundial, the soccer games.
Oh, the World Cup.
The World Cup, there you go, thank you. And I was watching, not watching, doing my stuff, my husband's watching, that was a match between, Germany and someone else, I don't remember. Anyway, and I got a picture of the last goal that Germany, they're gonna win, and I saw a goal, in the last minute of the game.
So you called up your sports book?
I knew it before. So I was thinking, in such cases, I'm thinking about it, how is that possible? Is it written in the stars?
Right. Or is it one possible outcome? Or and I guess the next question. So you're a believer in fate, I guess. That's
yes, I do. I have no other choice.
Yeah. So
if I can see something before it happens,
right?
Like starting with the president of the United States and finishing with the soccer cup.
So does that mean that you can't change your life? Is it kind of written?
We have choices. The fate and destiny, those are two different things. So we have choices. I believe we write, before we are born, we write, as we call it, a blueprint, you are writing, your own movie, what you want to go through, what experience you need, what lessons you need to get in this particular lifetime in order to improve yourself. So, yes, but then you are here in a physical form, right? And you have to make a decision. I'm sure you had to make a lot of decisions in your life. Some of those decisions are great, and some are just lousy, right? So you are changing it. People, I know people, they, sometimes they blame God for something, and I say, don't do that. It's not up to God, it's up to us. You get married to someone who is horrible, and you're gonna blame God for that? I don't think
so. God didn't get down on one knee and...
You save the money for a lawyer.
Have you ever been asked to work with the police? Like, they have on TV, there's missing people or things like that. Does that ever happen?
I was asked, years ago, I had such, cases. And to be honest with you, it was good. Do I work with the police? responded, no,
But like,
I don't.
The one that you worked on, can you give us a little bit of was it like a missing person? Or
It was a missing person. It was someone. It was a father who came to see me, and his son, who was, according to his parents, to his father, he was a good boy. What happened? And I saw him, in downtown Toronto, selling a Bible, and I was like, what is that with the Bible? And then I realized he was surrounded by, young, friends, and the feeling was that they were not great people, and it was about actually drugs, not selling a Bible.
Okay.
But anyway, the father was he was obviously happy that his son is still alive. And then again, on the other hand, he wasn't happy because
he was in a bad situation.
It was, yeah.
Did he track him down, or do you not know what happened, or?
I heard from someone that the boy, and because I remember myself, I was telling the father that, whatever you do, your son, unfortunately, I'm sorry to say that, but I don't see him coming home soon,
Right.
So, and that's what happened actually. So again, speaking of choices, of making choices, that was his son's decision.
It's a bad one. So how, you talked about intuition and the fact that everybody has it, some develop it, some don't. What would be your advice to people who want to exercise this, or to get better at this, or to be more in tune, whether it's for their own life or if it's communicating with other people who have maybe passed on? How do you work that muscle?
I think, first of all, what I say when I get such a question from my clients, start with listen to yourself. Just stop for a second, which is extremely difficult nowadays.
You have so much
to all of
information,
because we are running.
Phones.
We are not living our lives. We are running.
Yeah.
We are going through it like a subway from station to station,
right.
And we don't see what is going on outside. Mm-hmm. So I say stop for a second. Give yourself a minute, right, or a few seconds, and then you're gonna hear those voices, like you said,
right.
your soul trying to telling you actually what to do, right? Mm. Or giving you some solution to your issues, to your problems, mm-hmm. right? But we usually don't listen to ourselves.
What was like the most memorable or interesting reading you've done so far this year? Is there one that jumps out for whatever reason? The people who were here, the people who came through, or the circumstances? Like, are there any readings that kind of like, you don't have to give names or anything like that, obviously. But was there anything that kind of like jumps out to you as memorable?
All of those sessions are so individual. Some of them, obviously, I do remember. Like I said, when I have parents, who lost their child. You're not gonna forget that, right? Or some are very funny, you're not gonna believe that, but people they're grieving, but there's still something funny, because there's some stories,
right.
from their past, the mutual, memories, and. So yeah, but some are very surprising me after so many years.
What surprises you?
Like, for example, just recently, I've got actually two clients coming, to see me together. They were together, and all of a sudden I contacted them with their parents, and then I've got a brother who came through, and the only thing at the beginning I could hear was chaos, chaos, chaos. I didn't understand what it was.
What were they saying?
Chaos.
Oh, chaos.
That's the only thing I could get, at the beginning, and I didn't understand what was going on. I'm always, very honest with my clients. If I don't understand something, I say, I don't understand what it is. This is what I'm getting. And what happened, his nickname, the brother's nickname was Chaos.
Oh, jeez. So it makes sense to them, but not to you.
Absolutely. Plus, he had a tattoo on his leg,
Oh, right. So he pulled up the...
That was amazing. That was surprising.
So they've got to be... when you bring that up, their jaws have to drop. Like, they've got to be, oh, my God.
That's a great validation because they know for sure that this is...
How important is that validation piece?
It's very important because it means that I'm not talking to any spirit. I'm talking to your relatives. I'm talking to your friends, to your loved ones.
And do the loved ones come through and make a point of like, hey, tell them this, and then they'll know it's me?
That's how it works, telepathically, like I said, they send their messages. This is me. They describe, their personalities.
Sure.
They talk about, their lives, when they were living here, they were with us. And like I said, they share their memories.
Yeah.
And sometimes they give me some information, or they, let's say, there is something about my client's health. So they this is an interesting story about someone whose father in spirit world, from a spirit world, pointed out that my client's stomach.
Something wrong.
There was something wrong with that. And he mentioned a surgery. I didn't understand exactly what was going on, what is the meaning of the message. The validation was that this client said, you are the third or the fourth person who knows about this surgery. So that was, I think, a great piece of validation that, her father is still with her.
Right.
That is the whole point.
Right.
They are still with us. Love and life never... I don't even like the word death because I don't believe in that.
So I did a podcast with a prominent scientist a couple of months ago, and I asked her point blank, do you believe in life after death? And she said, no. She kind of apologized, said, no, I don't. Because I believe what you see, and then there's no proof.
Right.
She's treating it like an experiment.
Yeah, she's a left brain, person.
Right.
I'm a right person.
So what would you say to someone like that? Or is it not your job to convince everybody, I guess?
I'll tell her, give her my name.
Have her come by and you can chat with her grandparents or something.
See a medium, This is the best proof, if, for the, and this is who I am, evidential, medium. So this is my job, is to give you a pieces of evidence, of validation, so that I'm telling you things that I didn't know about you or about your loved ones on the other side. I never met them.
The night my mom died, you described it in vivid detail. Who was there? What happened? How does that work? Like, how do you tap into that? Like, it's almost like you have a video camera in the room.
I get the picture, I get the feelings, and many times loved ones, they want to talk about their last day here with us. So what I'm getting a picture of that particular day, and I many times, I feel their pain. If they pass for cancer, I can, let's say stomach cancer, and I show them, I get the feeling, I feel pain. I know this is not mine pain. This is not mine, right? So another piece of evidence, or they had a heart attack. And I feel like I'm actually having a heart attack. It lasts, a few seconds, and I know it's not my pain again, so I just pass, I convey the message. This is, the way your relative, died, so they know exactly, yes, this is my father. He had a heart attack, and that was the cause of his death, right? Or some other illnesses. So they want to talk about that, but for a short time,
right?
Because they don't want us to remember,
right?
From that particular day when they were in pain, or no, they want to share their memories. They want to talk, and many times, most of the times, they are talking about funny, things in life, or they're teasing, their loved ones who are still here, my clients. This is so funny. So there's not always that, people, they come to see me and we just see tears.
Sure.
No, that's not the point, because at some point in the session, we start laughing, because spirits, They have such a great sense of humor. It's unbelievable. If you are sarcastic now in your life, you're a sarcastic person. When you pass, you're gonna come.
Right.
To contact your children, let's say, the same way. You're going to be sarcastic.
Well,
and your children, they're going to love it.
Right.
Because they're going to know, yes, this is my dad.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but you mentioned the whole Donald Trump thing, which was one of the biggest stories of a couple years ago. Is there anything that you see on the horizon in like the next, I don't know, for the rest of 2018 or in the future, anything on whether it's Canadian or the world or anything of interest that people would be interested in or want to know about or that you just see coming down the pipe?
I was thinking about it, and I was talking to my friends and some of my clients who are in business world about what's going to happen and in the next few years, about, the financial world. Mm-hmm. So I say, whatever, if you have something to do in that area, you better take care of it now. And this is something that we actually experienced, in 1930s, late 1930s of the last century.
So you're saying like a depression kind of thing?
Depression era.
Like it's coming?
Yeah, this is what is coming.
Really?
Yeah, this is what is coming.
And what based on, I thought we went through
this is based on astrology, actually.
Yeah.
This is the thing, that we, all of us astrologers, we can see that,
So when should we sell all of our shares? And
make your, smart, financial decisions. Be smart. Be smart. So that might be very, very useful.
So for anyone who's curious, how do they get a hold of you? And you do readings for people who aren't, because you're located in the GTA, but for people who aren't here, you do readings on the phone as well. So how can people get in touch with
Absolutely.
you?
I have clients all over the globe, so via Skype, via messengers nowadays, over the phone, it doesn't matter, there is no stops on our roads right nowadays, because we have so technology. Think about technology. We can use whatever.
Of course.
So that's how people contact me.
So what's your website?
Thank you so much. Okay. It's www.barbararybicka.com.
Excellent. Anyway, thank you very much for speaking with me.
Thank you so much for having me.
I really appreciate you allowing me into your house and sharing your story with me.
Thank you so much, and thank you to the listeners. It was a great pleasure and great honor to talk to you about the spirit world. As the ambassador to the spirit world.
All right. Have a great rest of the summer.
Thank you so much. You too. Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening. If you'd like to find out more about Barbara, please check out the show notes at weeksmedia.ca and click on podcast. And if you enjoy the show, please take a second to rate it on Apple Podcasts. It means a lot and it helps other people to discover the show. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.